What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Steak and Antler Show with your host, me. I'm Sam. So today in the kitchen, I've actually really been craving something super sweet. So we're gonna be making cookies today. For all you gluten-free fanatics, I'm gonna attach a little picture here of the gluten-free flour that I like to use. I'm cooking these cookies for other people, so I'm gonna use gluten flour in the cookies today, but I normally don't eat a whole lot of gluten because I have a thyroid that decides it didn't want to work. I actually made this recipe up legit on the complete fly. So what we have here, we have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of cake flour. We have semi-sweet morsels, pure cane sugar, light brown sugar, Himalayan salt, vanilla extract with cute little teaspoon, milk chocolate, 90% cacao dark chocolate, or cocoa, or however you want to say it, 2 eggs. We're actually going to use 1 egg, 1 full egg, and 1 egg yolk, and 2 sticks of butter. That's a lot of butter, but Paula Deen would be proud. And you'll need a knife. So we're going to get started. So first things first, wash your hands. My hands are already clean. As always, you don't want any like nastiness going on in your cookies. So wash your hands, use soap, and get ready to cook. For the first step after you wash your hands, we're gonna turn on the oven. We're gonna preheat the oven to 350. So we're gonna go over here, hit bake, 350, hit bake again, and while that's heating up, we're gonna get ready to prepare all the other ingredients. You are cleared for good cookies. You know, like a runway to my mouth. Yikes. So we're gonna take our 2 sticks of butter while the oven is heating up. We're actually gonna brown the butter. So we're gonna open up the sticks of butter. So we're gonna put our pan on medium heat. So we're gonna put it on 5. We're gonna put in both sticks of butter, and we're gonna let those start reducing down into their liquid counterpart. The reason why we're browning the butter, it's going to give the cookie a little bit nuttier flavor, but the cookie is a lot more rich, a whole lot more gourmet. So we're going to let these start melting. We're going to cook it out. It probably takes 20 to 25 minutes to get the butter completely brown. You don't want to burn it. You're going to have to constantly stir the butter. But then we're going to put it in a jar to cool, and then we'll get to mixing all the other ingredients. So while the butter's melting, we're going to start mixing. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna sift this flour. 1 cup of cake flour, and there's 1 cup of all-purpose flour. So we're just gonna push it. I don't even know what this sifter is. Actually, newsflash, this is not a sifter. It prevents oil from splashing out of your pan. We're gonna be redneck in the kitchen and sift this flour out. We're gonna make sure there's no chunks. So we have our flour sifted. We're actually probably not going to end up using all 2 cups total of flour. It just kind of depends on the dough's preference whenever you start mixing everything together. You don't want to add too much flour because then your cookies will be like thick with like 3 C's. Like they'll be like thick. Ladies. But you also don't want to put too little flour because then they'll be runny. And then they'll be like, ooh, thin. I'm going to show you all a cool little technique once we get some of the flour mixed in. So we're gonna set this off to the side. We're gonna get to our sugar next. The recipe that I developed calls for 1 cup of light brown sugar. So we're gonna put a full cup of brown sugar in the bowl, and then we're gonna do half a cup of pure cane sugar. We have our sugar ready to go. Next, we're gonna have 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. So you're just gonna grind it finely. I like Himalayan salt a lot better. It's a lot stronger of a salt to me, and so it gives a much different salty flavor, like a much more savory flavor to these cookies. Again, we're trying to make these cookies really gourmet and not just like the run-of-the-mill chocolate chip cookies that you're trying to grab on the run. These actually do take a little bit of time to make. Next, we have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So the butter has started to cook down. As you can see, it's starting to boil. And so you're gonna wanna keep it moving. There's already solids. You can probably see it at the bottom of the pan. There's solids already kind of cooking out of the butter. And you're like, Sam, What solids are there? Well, I don't really know what happens, but whenever you heat it up, solids come out of the butter. So you're just gonna wanna keep it moving, and then we're gonna get back to our other solids. Next, we're gonna add our eggs. We're gonna do a full egg, and then we're gonna do just the yolk of the next egg. These are extra large eggs. They have a little bit more material to use in the cooking process. So I'm just gonna crack one whole egg goes in there. Kobe. And then we're gonna set this cup to the side. We're gonna crack it, and then we're gonna get to play with the food. So we're just gonna swish the egg back and forth. Yolk comes out. Boop. And remember, keep stirring your butter. So you can probably see these solids that are just kind of sitting around. Those will go away. They'll kind of separate out. And so again, you just want to keep stirring the butter, because if you allow those solids just to sit, they're going to start to burn, and then it'll ruin your browned butter. Cha-cha! Cha-cha! Okay. So you're just going to mix these ingredients all together. One of my favorite words on the channel is saying well incorporated. You want everything well incorporated for this. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is kind of the consistency you're looking for. You're looking for like a soupy, syrupy mix of basically just sugar. Like if you were to eat this, this jar is straight diabetes. You'd have some you'd go to the bathroom a lot. You're gonna mix that, and we're gonna set this off to the side just to let it rest. So you can see more solids are starting to sift out. But now, instead of it being like a clearish yellow, it's now a yellowish clear, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's more golden than it was before. So this is like minute 5 or 6 of the melting butter process. And so we're just gonna keep cooking it, letting it cook down, letting the butter brown some more. And then we'll get this set off to the side once it gets a really nice dark brown. It's almost gonna be like a hazelnut colored brown. This is the 90% dark cacao chocolate. So we're gonna cut this into fine pieces. You don't have to cut it super fine, it just kind of depends on what you want. I like to make what's called cargo short cookies. So cargo shorts, as everybody knows, they have a lot more pockets than normal. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make lots of pockets of chocolate. So you don't have to cut it very fine, you just wanna cut pieces. Make sure your knife is good and sharp. Please don't cut yourself. Kids, don't try this at home unless you have your parent permission. Chicken. This entire batch, I'm actually gonna cut in half and do one side milk chocolate and one side dark chocolate. So for the chocolate, I like to use Lindt. Is it Lindent or Lindt, like belly button Lindt? We're actually gonna use a half bar of milk chocolate. So break it in half, put this half in the freezer. Milk chocolate is much easier to cut. Again, you can cut the chocolate to however you want. I like the cargo short, cargo cookie, cargo something method, because it leaves big old pockets of, oh, that's so good. My roommate just took some of the chocolate, and he didn't ask. So you guys can see that the butter's starting to brown. Once it begins to brown, it turns brown really, really quick. So again, these solids are in there, so you just want to keep the solids moving because the solids will start to burn. We're just going to let that kind of simmer. We actually ended up turning the heat down to low just to kind of let it simmer a little bit. While I was cutting the chocolate, I didn't want to have a fiery explosion back behind me. We have our chocolate, half bar of milk chocolate, half bar of dark chocolate. We have our semi-sweet chips. We're gonna use about 3/4 of a cup of semi-sweet chips in addition to these 2 chocolates. Our butter's browned, it's ready to go. So just to show you guys in the pan, it's a nice dark brown color. What I figured out is best to do, you don't wanna mix in your melted butter immediately with your dough, with your sugar and flour mix. It's gonna make everything super, super greasy. I take this out, make sure to turn off your stove. So then we're just gonna pour it in this container. See, it's a nice dark brown color. You don't have to take out the solids either. Leave the solids in there. Those will be really, really good for whenever you mix everything together. There is about 3/4 of a cup worth of liquid butter in there. And so what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna put in enough water to bring the total in this cup up to a full cup. We're gonna wing this. Nope, there we go. Yo. So again, material right out of cup. We're gonna let this come to room temperature. It's gonna take probably about 35 minutes to come to room temperature, and then we're gonna start mixing everything together and get it ready to put on the cookie sheet to go in the oven. So catch you back in 30 to 35 minutes. High five. All right guys, so it's been about 30 minutes. Our butter and water mixture is, it's at room temperature. So it's nice and cool. And so now we're going to pour it into our sugar, egg, and vanilla mixture. And you can pour in the solids. Again, the solids just kind of make it like a nutty flavor. Can you smell that? Yeah, I know you can't, because you're not here.
It just smells like a girl, because it's so sweet. Ladies love me.
Get the butter well incorporated with all the ingredients in here, and then we'll add the flour for the very last part of the cookies. It's got to be well incorporated. We've got everything basically well incorporated. Favorite word again. We've got the butter mixed in. So it's basically just a really soupy slurry of sugar and butter. Basically everything that's not at all good for you is in this bowl right now. And if someone wants to drink it, you know. My roommate Matt just tried this soupy stuff, and he said it was good. So now we're to the part where I'm gonna teach you how to figure out how much flour actually needs to go in your cookie dough. So, gonna give this a final few stirs. We have our pre-sifted flour. Again, it's 1 cup of all-purpose and 1 cup of cake flour. We're gonna sprinkle in about a half cup at a time. You don't wanna do it all at once, because then you'll start getting big clumps, and you might end up putting in too much flour. I'm stirring with a fork. It's just a lot easier to stir with a fork, because if you do it with a spoon, then you'll get random clumps of flour all in the spoon, and with the fork it won't do that. Half cup number 2. I'm not Gordon Ramsay. I am Don Quixote. I'm guesstimating.
Matt made coffee already, and he didn't even invite me to the coffee party.
I like coffee.
Yeah, you're right. What?
Well, okay. It's not like you don't like coffee. You don't like to drink. Like I don't know. You have some issue with coffee.
I don't like hot coffee. We currently have about 1.5 cups of the flour mixture put into the sugar mixture. And so the dough is really gonna start thickening up at this point. And so you're gonna wanna add in the rest of the flour in really little increments. You don't wanna make your cookie dough too thick, and you don't wanna make it too thin. Again, we're just gonna add in a little bit of flour at a time. I have about maybe 1/4 cup of flour left over, and I'm actually not gonna use that. The cookie dough is basically done at this point. And I'll show you guys what the best consistency, in my opinion, that you're looking for cookie dough. I'm messy. This is kind of the consistency that you're looking for. You wanna be able to spank the cookie dough and it not spank you back, but it also doesn't absorb your hand either. Like, you want to give it like a firm little good boy, you know? Like you'll get a little bit of residue in your hands. A little bit weird. That's a lot of weird. You want to get just a little bit of cookie dough in your hands. If it's too liquidy, you're basically going to sink in and pull out a bunch of cookie dough. If it's too firm, then there's going to be no cookie dough that ends up on your hands. So you want it just kind of liquidy enough to leave a little bit of residue. So next, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna add the semi-sweet chocolate chips. That's gonna be in the milk chocolate version and in the dark chocolate version. So we're gonna add, so for reference, the bag is about halfway through. We're gonna use about half that. So you're gonna use about 1/4 bag worth of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So we're just gonna dump those in there, give those a real good thorough mixing. Make sure it's well incorporated. Okay, chocolate chips are well incorporated. So now we have 2 bowls. We're gonna split the cookie dough in half. We're gonna put half of it in one bowl, this one, half of it in the other bowl. One bowl we're gonna put milk chocolate, one bowl, we're gonna put dark chocolate. And goes in dark chocolate into one bowl, and the milk chocolate into the other. So we're gonna stir up just real quick.
It's a smaller bowl, so it's hard.
Cookie dough's done. We're gonna get this cookie dough ready to put in the oven, throw it in there, and we'll let you know how it tastes. So I would recommend, if you have the time, leave the cookie dough in the fridge overnight just to let everything kind of sit together, and then take it out and make cookie dough. But I'm pretty impatient and I want to get these delivered to my friends. And so we're gonna go ahead and put these on the cookie sheet. We're just gonna take spoonfuls of the cookie dough. So they're not gonna be like perfect circles or anything. But we're gonna come over here and we're just gonna plop the cookie dough down. My cooking was so good, I dropped the mic. My mic fell off, so I'm gonna hold it here until we put the cookies in the oven. Right now, we have 6 milk chocolate cookies on the left, and then over here, we have 6 super dark chocolate cookies on the right. We're gonna open the oven up, try not to melt the cord. The cookies are gonna go in for about 15 minutes. If they're too doughy for you, leave them in there like an additional 2 to 3 minutes. We're gonna leave them in there about 15 minutes. It'll leave like a nice soft center in the middle, but still get the edges really nice and crispy. So 15 minutes from now, and we'll be taking out the cookies.
I went over to your house today. Mama made 15 flapjacks. I told her to take back 5 flapjacks because I gotta be hungry for the Crimson Tide.
Plus 10 points for whoever can tell me that quote. All right, timer just went off. We're gonna take a look at the cookies. Ooh, child, please. I heard it on Ellen. Look at those cargo short cookies. There's pockets upon pockets upon pockets of chocolate. A little crispy on the edges. We're gonna let those cool off for a little bit, set up, and then we're gonna dig in. Catch you in a few minutes. Our cookies are out of the oven. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate. I really wish you guys were here to try this. So I'm gonna go eat this. One last thing, if you like this video or you just think I'm weird, press like, give this video a thumbs up, or subscribe, or do whatever you want to do. Here's my gift to you. Here's a milk chocolate cookie. I'm gonna go eat this. Have a good night, guys.